Hi, today from Madrid, Spain. I have a very special guest with me today, José Cordeiro. Mr. Cordeiro organized this inspiring event here. This is Liberty International World Conference with a very special topic. José, what's the main topic of the conference?
Yes, the theme of this international conference has been prosperity and longevity through liberty.
Exactly, because Mr. José Cordeiro is an expert and in the area of longevity, but not only expert, he wrote a book, The Death of Death, and he is also entrepreneurially extremely active and also active in research, right?
Yes.
So, Jose, you just gave an extremely powerful and inspiring speech. What was the main message of your speech?
We live in fantastic times. This is the best time to be alive and to remain alive. Why? Because we are between the last mortal generation and the first immortal generation. We are going to be able to live indefinitely young in the future. Indefinitely young, because no one wants to be eternally old, but it is okay to be eternally young. Now we have Rejuvenation Technologies. We know that aging can be stopped, and even better, can be reversed. We can reverse aging.
And this is not just, like a pipe dream or a fantasy. You actually, there is a person that has been rejuvenated already or is in the process of rejuvenating. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, of course. Actually, many therapies are being investigated now for rejuvenation since the Nobel Prize from Japan, Shinya Yamanaka, discovered that aging is reversible. In the year 2012, he got the Nobel Prize in medicine. And these are called the Yamanaka factors or Yamanaka genes. And there is a lot of investment in that area. In fact, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, he created a company with other billionaires like Yuri Milner, originally from Russia, to create a company called Altos Labs, whose objective is biological rejuvenation. They began with a small amount of money of $3 billion, nothing for Jeff Bezos and Yuri Milner. But this field is growing very fast, and it is based on incredible science that was not known 20 years ago.
Okay, but coming back to let's say, to medicine, you were talking at the beginning of the speech about cancer, about cardiovascular diseases, about some other diseases that kill us. But then you said, so the most important thing is actually to solving aging. Why is it the most important thing? If we have so many diseases that people die from.
Well, because aging is really the mother of all diseases. If we stop aging, we basically stop cancer, we stop heart attacks, we stop Alzheimer's, we stop Parkinson's. So the problem is really aging. Before we thought that diseases were unrelated. Now we know they are all connected and that the center is aging itself. The enemy is not cancer. The enemy is not Alzheimer's. The enemy is not heart trouble. It is aging. If we stop aging, we will stop those other diseases. And this is a change of paradigm, that diseases are not unrelated. They are very related, and they are especially centered around aging.
Okay, but we can't even. I'm playing advocatus diaboli a little bit. We can't even solve at the moment cancer and like people dying of diabetes and solving diabetes actually. And you are talking about rejuvenation and about stopping aging. Is it not too far-fetched? Is it not too far away? You were giving us in the presentation two dates, 2 years. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? How far away is this technology?
Well, because technology is advancing very fast. In fact, it is advancing exponentially, not linearly, exponentially. We are talking about 2 decades that we will be able to rejuvenate human beings. The first number, the magic number, is 2029, 2030.
So
we will
7 years, generally.
Yeah, 7 years.
Yeah.
We will reach what is called longevity escape velocity. This means that if we make it to 2030, we will win 1 extra year per year we survive. Because life expectancy keeps on increasing. Right now, we gain 3 months per year we survive. Soon it's going to be 4 months, 6 months, and 12 months by 2030. This is moving very fast. And we keep on living longer, but still aging. By 2045, which is the other magic date, and these numbers are by my friend Ray Kurzweil, who is an engineer from MIT, director of engineering of Google, co-founder of Singularity University, a very important, knowledgeable person. He has been talking about these forecasts and others for half a century, and he has been incredibly correct based on his vision of exponential technologies. So, the second year, 2045, when we will have rejuvenation technologies. So it doesn't matter if we are very old by that time, because we should be able to rejuvenate people. In fact, he is already 75 years old, Ray Kurzweil, and he expects to live indefinitely. Because, you know, even if you are 75 now, you should make it to 2030, 7 more years, and then that will allow him to live 1 year per year he survives until we have rejuvenation technologies in 2045.
Okay, so like if somebody manages to reach 2030, let's say the year 2030, he will probably not die, but he will live as an old person, right? I mean, he will stop, or maybe he will age less quickly.
Yes.
But if he reaches then 2045, he will be able to live forever or indefinitely as a young person.
That's right.
So these are this is the difference between these 2 dates. Okay, but I mean, what makes you think that medicine, or let's say health technology, will also develops also exponentially? I think this is Moore's law is known to many people, but this is something about bits, not a material world. It's not about biology. I mean, can we see also exponential growth in some biotechnology?
Now that the human genome has been sequenced, medicine now is like computer science. We have the human genome digitized, and so we can see which genes causes diseases and how to control the genome. That is why it is moving so fast. Also in terms of cancer, now we have sequenced the mutations that create cancer, and studying those mutations we can correct them. So we will be able to stop cancer. I'm very convinced. It is in my book. I make forecasts to the year 2099. 2099, so I talk about 2030, longevity escape velocity, 2045 for rejuvenation technologies, and 2099 for colonizing the universe, because we are going to move from our tiny planet into outer space very soon.
Yeah, I think one of the objections, or let's say the typical questions that were asked after your speech was about, will it not be detrimental to our society if people live forever and cause problems and so on? So people think about this potential negative impact, but they don't think about the immense positive potential, right? It could allow us actually to colonize the universe, right?
Yes, absolutely.
If we live indefinitely, and will solve a lot of issues in that aspect. I mean, on top of making people young and healthy, right? But I have heard in your free time, you as a hobby, you freeze dead people.
Well, that is Plan B. Plan A is not to die.
Right.
So we need to be alive by 2030 for longevity escape velocity and 2045 for rejuvenation technologies. But until that time, people will still die. And also maybe even in the future, because we still have, sadly, accidents, we have homicides, and we have suicides. So death will always be around. It is very easy to die, actually. The problem is to stay alive. And sadly, once again, for older people, they will probably die. People who are in their 80s, their 90s, they will probably die. But for them, we have what is called cryonics, or human cryopreservation, which most people say freezing. You can freeze a person when they die, and then we can keep them frozen until we have the technology to reanimate them. In the world, there are hundreds of people who are frozen, who are cryonically suspended. And in Spain, we have 4. And I actually cryonically suspended the first person in the peninsula. Then there are 2 other people from the Balearic Islands, from Mallorca, and another person that was on the Pyrenees, on the French side, the border with Spain. So many people are cryonically suspended. There are 2 big centers, facilities in the USA, one in Arizona, one in Michigan, another big one near Moscow, Russia, one in Australia, one in China, also smaller ones in Miami, Florida, in Oregon, United States, and now also one that I recommend in Zurich, Switzerland, because it just opened 1 year ago. Very advanced technology. They have doctors there, and they already have 2 patients, 2 frozen patients, 2 frozen cryonically suspended people.
So two aspects of that. I always thought it would be, or it is extremely expensive technology, like going into millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it actually isn't. I mean, what are the prices that people pay for?
It is actually not expensive. And it changes from country to country. In Russia, for example, that's the cheapest one. It is 12,000 euro for the head, because basically you only need the head. Your brain is mostly what you are, your memories, your souvenirs, your loves. It's all in the brain. So it is the part that we really need to preserve. The whole body can be cloned. We can recreate our bodies with our own cells, because the human genome will allow us to grow other bodies. And also, I don't recommend to keep the body, the old body, because it is old. It is malfunctioning already. So you certainly don't want an old body in the future. You will
probably grow from your genome, right? A new body.
Absolutely.
Right?
If you want a biological body, you might want a robotic body. That is another possibility. Yeah. We will have many types of bodies in the future, not just these fleshy type of bodies. But going back to the cost. So 12,000 euros for the head and 36,000 euros for the whole body. In the USA, they have also a relatively cheap place, which is $28,000 for the whole body. Mm-hmm. And then there is a more expensive place in Arizona, which is $80,000 for the head and $200,000 for the whole body, which is similar to Switzerland. The new center in Switzerland, which is called Tomorrow Biostasis. This is normally also called biostasis. Stasis to stop, and biology, so stop the biology. This one costs 60,000 euro, or Swiss francs, for the head, the brain, and 200,000 Swiss francs for the whole body.
Okay. Another question that was going through my head after our conversation about cryonics is there maybe a technology that you know about, something like actually before you die, to get somebody in a state of slowed existence, or tuned down, bioexistence, that will just, slow down the processes and so on, but you actually don't die. You are just sleeping and waiting for cure for your terminal disease or whatever.
Well, animals have something called hibernation. Many animals go through hibernation, but that is a few months, maybe 4 months, 5 months. But we are learning also how to hibernate. This is important also for space travel, because space travel can take months, years, decades. So it is better that you are cryonically suspended and then reanimated, or in what is called suspended animation. There is a lot of research now in suspended animation. So I think it is possible. Let me give you the best example. There are already 8 million human beings that have been born after being frozen. In vitro fertilization uses normally frozen eggs or frozen sperms or frozen eggs.
Right,
And embryos. So you can have the embryo, the egg, or the sperm. And these frozen humans, little humans, are reanimated in the future. And there are 8 human beings that have been born after being frozen. So it's not a small number. We know this works. This is a technology that works. Even though 40 years ago when it was invented, people thought it was crazy, it was impossible. Or even worse, that it was like a devil thing to conceive a human being outside the body of the mother. And this is very standard today, in vitro fertilization.
That's right. When we first met and you were talking about longevity and immortality, I roughly imagine how big an opportunity it is business-wise, because you also consider it as a great business, right? So I, especially after pandemic, we know companies that offer just a vaccination or a solution for just one disease, how rich they got, right? So how valuable would be a company that provides immortality, or let's say endless life.
Well,
but I didn't realize, how high the numbers actually are, or also the impact in the society. But you brought that in your presentation. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Anti-aging, longevity will be the biggest industry in the world in 20 years. And we can see also how historically technologies change, companies change. 30 years ago, the biggest companies in the world were energy companies, Exxon, Shell, British Petroleum, Texaco, etc., etc. Those were the top 10 companies in the world. Then today, the 10 top countries are all technology companies: Google, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, IBM, in China, Baidu, etc., etc. Well, in 20 years, the biggest companies will be all longevity anti-aging companies, and that is why the technology companies are trying to get into that market. Like Google has a subsidiary where they also put $3 billion called Calico, California Life Company. Or Tim Cook from Apple, he says that he wants to go into health because it will be the biggest industry. So it's not just me. Tim Cook from Apple, which is the biggest company in the world today, they want to go into health. And Google, as I mentioned, Amazon, Jeff Bezos put $3 billion on an anti-aging company called Altos Labs. So all these companies know that the future is anti-aging, longevity. So this will truly be the biggest industry in the world.
But you had one number that really struck me in your presentation. How much would it be worth for a world economy to prolong life expectancy by just 1 year?
Yes, I actually gave several numbers. A previous one is that the anti-aging market will be $8 trillion by the end of this decade. But the number you are talking about is that if we are able to extend the lifespan 1 year of people, healthy lifestyle, it will generate $367 trillion. And this is now called longevity dividend. Being young has a positive dividend. It is good for the economy, for example, because you don't have all these huge medical expenses. Also, you don't have special pensions or many things. So instead of losing money, if you are healthy, you win money for the government, for the person, for the family, for the company. So being young, being healthy is very good. In fact, there is a beautiful saying, health is wealth. Health is wealth. So we need to be healthy to be wealthy.
Yeah, so and this is actually the best part because there was one objection as well from the audience that it will be unaffordable for most people and so on. Only billionaires will be able to to rejuvenate and so on and so on. But what was your reply to that? I mean, what is?
Well, I gave the example of a small pandemic called COVID-19. COVID is really a small pandemic in historical terms. For example, the Spanish flu 100 years ago, that was not Spanish and was not the flu, but the Spanish flu, as it is called, killed 50 million people in a population that was 4 times less than today. So that would be
200 million.
200 million people today, okay? Yeah. Over 200 million people. COVID killed horribly maybe 10 million people, or multiplied by 20 million people, but it's really nothing in historical terms. Even worse was the Black Death. The Black Death is estimated to have killed 1 out of every 3 Europeans. 1 out of every 3 Europeans died because of COVID. Also smallpox. The smallpox is estimated to have killed maybe 100 million people. AIDS has already killed also over 40 million people in the world. So all these diseases are killing many people. So COVID is actually small in historical terms. However, everybody got the vaccine for free. No one paid for a COVID vaccine. The same will be with the biggest pandemic, the biggest disease, which is aging. All of us are dying. You are aging. I am aging. And we're very close to cure aging because we know this is science. The Japanese scientists discovered how to reverse aging. Not only how to stop, but how to reverse aging. So it is a matter of time until we have this technology. And whenever we have it, it will be free. Free, because if it is not free, there will be a revolution the following day, immediately. But also it will be free, just like the COVID vaccine is free to the individual. It is true.
I think
it costs billions of dollars to the companies, to the governments, to the foundations, like the Bill Gates foundations put a lot of money developing several therapies, also for malaria or other diseases. So all of these money will be paid by companies, governments, wealthy individuals, so that it is free for the individual at the end.
Yeah, so like every stakeholder, actually, governments are interested to have healthy population because then they can work and pay taxes. And the same is with like company owners. They also want to have healthy, healthy employees. So there is a lot of stakeholders interested in actually providing it for free or for the people to use it. So thanks a lot, Jose, for these wise words and for this great conference. It gave me so much knowledge, so much wisdom, and I hope we could provide also some ideas to follow for personal life and maybe for business, for investment, or how to position yourself in the world in the future. Once again, your book, The Death of the Death. How can where can they get it?
Yes. It is actually already in a dozen languages, in Spanish first, then German, French, Portuguese, Russian, Bulgarian, Chinese. This is the English edition that just came out. It is totally updated, and many more languages.
I will put a link below to Amazon.
Amazon, right? Amazon is the best to buy books today in the world. There is Amazon in many European countries, in France, in Italy, in Poland, in Germany. So Amazon is like the best distribution channel.
Pretty much everywhere in the world, but also in because I can see, like I could see the German edition.
Yes.
It is a very popular publisher actually, so you probably would get it in your. There is also a Polish edition, right? So probably in your country you would get it in a normal
library,
store.
In a bookshop. Yeah. In a bookshop. Yes. So I always like to say, all my friends, like the Vulcan Mr. Spock, live long and prosper. We have a little Spock here. Why don't you show him?
Yeah.
So live long and prosper, my friends.
Right. Okay. Thanks so much, Jose. Thank you for joining. I wish you a fantastic day here from Madrid. let's do something extraordinary today. Bye-bye.